Hi everyone, my name is Vazquez-Bodkin, and my local environment has changed in my lifetime through the elevation of my socioeconomic status, through education, and my career advancement. I was born in Germany on a military base and moved to the United States when I was 2 years old. I'm a first generation student and college graduate, and I'm also of Panamanian descent. My family is from Colón in Bocas del Toro, which is predominantly Afro Latino. My mother arrived in America when she was only 16, and so I was raised in a household that was deeply rooted in Afro Latino culture. I spent a lot of my childhood moving to and from different locations that were demographically marginalized and disenfranchised. My local environment was impacted by racist housing policies that contributed to more asphalt than tree coverage. And so this caused the neighborhood to be extremely hotter in comparison to other areas that were more affluent. And this also caused larger corporations to invest in the neighborhood, and it really deterred wealthy white families away from our neighborhood as well. And all of this contributed to the taxes, and we all know that taxes is the main source of investment into our educational system. So all of it really was affected. Um, and so I didn't really have books in high school, and we had to share books that had no spine or, were missing pages, that were historically old and culturally out of tune and irrelevant. And it really promoted just, the Eurocentric narrative. So when I had my daughter, I moved to Demorest, New Jersey. And I did so with the intent of providing her with a better education than I had. And so the Demorest School District of New Jersey is one of the best in New Jersey. It is a blue ribbon area, and it's rated a 10. And the area is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's filled with trees and clean parks, and the temperature is significantly lower. Unfortunately, it wasn't until my daughter entered first grade that I was encountered with the starting reality that my daughter is the only Black child in this entire school and in this neighborhood. And ironically, I only live 30 minutes away from where I grew up. And so my daughter is Haitian and Panamanian. And so she identifies as an Afro-Latina as well. However, because her complexion is darker than mine, we receive a lot of stares around town, and she has really struggled with her identity at such a young age as a result of not seeing brown representation outside of our home. My daughter, in contrast to myself, is environmentally more conscious than I was at her age, and I attribute this to the school curriculum. Unfortunately, while the curriculum advocates and educates a student from a very young age on the environmental health and safety, I'm not so hopeful that the curriculum will tackle the much needed teaching and conversation on the colonial and post colonial contributions that have drastically impacted climate change. Because this area is the epitome of redlining and capitalism and corporate greed. Recently, my daughter and I went to one of our favorite locations in Piermont, New York, by the Hudson River, and we were met with a putrid smell, and a saddening cascade of thousands of bunker fish dead floating in the water. And officials claim that the reason for their deaths was because of the rising water temperatures that deprived them of necessary oxygen. And because bunkerfish swim in larger schools, they were all vulnerable to the low dissolved oxygen content. There are many natural reasons as to why this occurred, but pollution and climate change is absolutely a factor. The rising water temperatures are a result of global warming worldwide, and while this was deemed a natural phenomenon, it is nonetheless due to the changes in our climate. Something I have noted over the past 10 years is that at as the passing of each season, the seasons seem to change. They're changing in a way that we haven't really experienced before, becoming more dramatic with the weather. And it also seems that fall is seeming to be more towards the end of summer, and the winter is seeming more like fall. The spring is seeming more like winter, and the summer it seems more to be like spring. And this year, my allergy started in August, which I came to find out that I wasn't the only one that this happened to. So, educationally, all of these factors are interconnected. According to UNESCO, education is an essential element of the global response to climate change. And it's only through education that we can start to change the attitudes and behaviors of young people in order to change the current trends. So, my 25th quote for the Xavier Cortada's Longitudinal Installation is: "One of my favorite places in Piermont, New York was polluted by the image of thousands of dead bunkerfish cascaded throughout the Hudson River due to rising water temperatures that deprived them of oxygen. Unfortunately, humans have deemed aquatic craniate animals low on the taxonomic rank, thus not having the privilege of having access to oxygen."